So in a previous talk, or the main talk, which this talk wishes to conclude, which was about the 3 marks of existence, or what I call the 3 conditions, because they condition all of sentient existence, meaning living beings, sentient beings who are conscious. And I talked about these 3 marks of existence. I focused mainly on anicca, impermanence or changingness, transience, and dukkha, unsatisfactoriness, or also transience in a sense. Anyway, those 2 topics were dealt with in the first talk, and the 3rd condition, or mark of existence, was Anatta, Nonself, and I said that needed a talk for itself. Now, the first talk was about not only the 3 marks of existence, but why they are difficult to see. So this final conclusion to that talk will be about why the 3rd mark of existence, Anatta, or non-self, is difficult to see. And so I'll begin with giving the reason, the main reason defined in Thai, which is ความเป็นแท่ง ความเป็นแท่ง meaning the state of being in a lump. Teng actually means if you smelt a piece of metal into a teng, it means an ingot. And also a pencil lead you would call, or pencil you would call a teng, so it means a bar, like a bar of an iron bar would also be a teng. And soความเป็นแท่ง, things appear to be blocks, units. And so I will use a modern term. I will change the word block for unit, which is essentially the same. So ความเป็นแท่ง, things in lumps. In this day and age we have many words for things which we once had few words, as our languages proliferate, and new inventions and new words and new terminologies and more abstractions, more delicate terminologies for the same thing occur. And so we have the word unit, the word lump, the word piece, the word individual. Word unit is seen as a physical object, whereas the word individual, as far as their body is concerned, is a physical object, but an individual is seen to be more than just a physical object, because it is conscious. And so I see animals as well as individuals, and conscious beings as individuals. A tree is also an individual if we are seeing things in this way. And so because of our 5 khandhas and the filters and doorways of our perception, and how we can perceive, and the filters through which we can perceive things, this is how things appear to be, because of the limits of our physical organs of perception. This is why these things can only be seen with insight, not with the physical senses, only with contemplative insight. And so if we take an individual, which is a unit, first we can look at me as an individual, as a person, as a man, but you can see many blood corpuscles and enzymes and various microorganisms which are also in a sense individuals, or just as much an individual as I am, arguably. And so consciousness is arguably the essential element which can change this fact of individuality. So let's step on now to abstract objects which appear to be units. Well, let's take a landscape. So a landscape, if we break it down, and here is how we contemplate and analyze it through breaking it down. Today with subatomic science and quantum physics, we now know subparticle theory, and we have found the Higgs boson, and so we know a lot more about how to break things down. And we know a lot more about how it is very difficult to find an ultimate unit, a particle which cannot be broken down, which has not been found yet, and is not expected to be found. Rather, scientists do not expect to find the ultimate matter. Rather, they don't believe in that anymore. They believe it may go on forever, or they may never find it. But that's not the mission. The mission is to just increase the knowledge and make it ever more accurate. And that's it. And so here is where we can intuit also not only non-self, but also emptiness, sunyata, anatta and sunyata, because we can see that the emptiness within all things, the emptiness of unitness, of individuality, of being a single thing and disconnected from the rest of things. And that all single things are composed of other smaller subunits of single things, and that it possibly goes on forever, and that one can tire oneself out seeking ever further. And so one can argue that until it is found, and if it is never found, then one can argue it forever. And so we should refer to the Handful of Leaves teaching for that one. And so a landscape is a forest and a mountain range and a series of lakes. And then the forest, what is but a forest, if not but individual trees making up the forest? And what are but individual trees, but leaves and branches and trunk and roots? And what are they, if not but leaves and veins and pieces of sinew? And what are they, if not but sap and microbial organisms and water and solid matter, fluid matter, gaseous matter, and dark matter or empty space, depending on which you would argue is that which fills all that lies between matter, material objects. And so we can take any individual object, any unit, and break it down, and break those things, those subsequent subunits down into their subcomponents, and break each of those subcomponents down into their subcomponents, and we can carry on until we find there is no center, the center is everywhere, and that it is all empty. And when we find that, we will see there is not a person to be found, and that all is anatta, non-self. And we will see that all is sunyata, empty. And so this is more or less one of the reasons why we do not see emptiness, and also why we do not see the third mark of existence, or the third condition of tilakkhana, which is anatta. There's a lot more to talk about with anatta, because you can talk about it with feelings, not just with objects, but in the five khandhas we have Rup, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vinyan, form, physical forms, feelings, perceptions or memories, conditioned things, and consciousness. All we have talked about today is within the first khandha, Rupa, forms, individual objects, and with mind, with abstract perception of them as individual objects. But anatta must be looked at within tilakkhana, the three marks of existence, through each of the five filters of the five khandhas. Firstly through rup, through form, as we have just done. After that we must do it again with feelings, and then with perceptions or memories, and then with sankhara, conditioned things, which needs explaining because there are two levels of sankhara: another day, another teaching, another talk, and lastly consciousness, that one must seek non-self within all of these five khandhas, and that they exist within tilakkhana within all of these five khandhas, so that the three marks of existence are found present within all of the five khandhas, and that the five khandhas are relative to these, and their relevance to each other will become apparent when you contemplate the three marks of existence through each of the five khandhas. And this is part of the entry portal to vipassana practice. And so I think this completes the talk on why tilakkhana, the three marks of existence, are hard to see. And this is Ajahn Spencer, hoping this talk is interesting and useful. Signing off.